20K in 2 months on TikTok Shop.
I started in January, right after the first band didn't go through. I was like, I'm gonna get on it. Prior to that, I did my first mentorship. I spent a lot of money on it and I kind of got ghosted. There was no strategy. It seemed like something that worked for him just wasn't really translating over to me.
But I can confidently say every single week we talked, there was a significant amount of progress that you were putting in to actually improve on it.
And then I finished the live stream after a couple hours and I had made $100. I posted a video on my page and I said that if I could do $100 a day for 30 days straight, I would quit my job. And that was my sole goal for May of 2025. I'm refreshing it at work and I'm like, I've just made $300, it's not even noon yet. The next thing I know, I totaled up my numbers for the end of May and I did $10,200 at the end of May.
Danny, 20K in 2 months on TikTok Shop and you quit your 9-to-5 job, correct?
Yeah. Crazy.
So we are here with Danny, or as many of you probably know him, the Fisher Effect, the most famous guy on TikTok Shop. But I wanted to kind of go through Danny's journey here because a lot of people see his videos, but I wanted to go through kind of his experience and how he got to this point that we're at right now. So Danny, when did you officially start TikTok Shop?
I started in January somewhere around the 14th. It was right after the first band didn't go through. I was like, I'm gonna get on it, and that's kind of when I started.
How'd you even get into TikTok Shop? Like, how'd you even hear about it?
I failed at a lot of different things. I was just wanting to get into e-commerce, right? So if you don't know my story, I'm a musician. That was kind of what I wanted to do, and pursued it for my entire life, and didn't work out. I want to say it didn't work out. The band that I was in fell apart in December, and I was like, I have to figure something out, right? So I started doing drop shipping. Didn't work. I started making crossword puzzles, selling them on Amazon. Didn't work, and they're still up there. So I built a piano course, tried to sell that. Didn't work, right? And ultimately, I just landed on TikTok Shop. I heard about a YouTube video, and I was like, this looks like a great opportunity. That was in January. I just dropped everything I was doing. I said, I'm going to give it my full attention.
So I know when you first started working with me, you were doing it for a while. So kind of walk me through your thought process and what you were doing and kind of what your results were.
Yeah, so the first month, I thought it was as easy as just like order your favorite product or order a product that is trending and then talk about it and tell people to buy it and you're just gonna make thousands of dollars. I quickly found out that was not the case, and I just kept seeing all these people online, like all these 18, 19, 20-year-olds just saying how they made all this money, and I'm like, if they can figure out, why the heck can't I figure it out? It was frustrating because I was giving my best effort. I was posting 3 videos a day, going live. I really just, at the end of the day, just didn't really know how to market products. I think that was what's killing me, and I wasn't marketing the right products. And yeah, I was working hard, but I wasn't seeing any traction, which was...
What was your best day, in the beginning there?
In the beginning, I had a day where I sold 3 things. I think I made $9. It was awesome. I felt really good that day. But the next day was 0, and then I felt sad.
And so you're at that time, was your big goal still to quit your 9-to-5 and get out?
Yeah, my ultimate goal for this was honestly to get my time back, because I was working a corporate job for 5 years. I graduated in 2021, and with finance degree and management degree, is working in the corporate world, and ultimately I just didn't have time to pursue things I really wanted to do, and it was taking up all my time and all my energy. And I'd get home from work, I'd go to the gym, I'd come home, eat dinner, it was already too late to do anything else. I was like, just this monotonous cycle. I was like, I have to get out. And so that knowing what I didn't want to do led me to just different routes. It led me to TikTok Shop, just knowing what I didn't want to do, right?
Correct. And so I know initially, right, when we first spoke, so how'd you even come across my content? Was it TikTok? YouTube?
Yeah, I think I saw you on the For You page on my TikToks, because I studied people who were taught anything TikTok Shop. I was studying, taking notes from people, but everyone teaches something different. So I was like, who do I listen to? So much information.
So I know when we first originally spoke, your big thing was that you invested in somebody else in another mentorship before. Don't say who it is or anything, but what was your thought process? Because most people, when you invest in something and you have a bad experience, they're just cut off. They're done. They're like, I'm not doing this again. It's a scam, blah, blah, blah. So what was going through your mind when we first spoke initially?
Well, I was sweating bullets when we were talking. I was scared to even get on the call because I knew you were going to make a pitch to me and I was going to have to make a decision. So I think I pushed our first call down, and you emailed me. You're like, are you sure you want to do this? I was like, yeah, I want to get on the call, whatever. But yeah, I mean, prior to that, I did my first mentorship. I spent a lot of money on it, and I kind of got ghosted. There was no strategy. It seemed like something that worked for him just wasn't really translating over to me, and I had questions, and it would take days to respond, and I just felt stuck. And then that was when I was in a hole where it was like, do I just give up, or do I just keep going? And that's what led me to the call with you. And then the rest is kind of history. I just had to make a scary decision, but that one decision that I made, that was the biggest and scariest in my life, it changed my entire life. And I quite literally, I'm pretty open about this. Like after I, made the investment with him, I only had maybe $12 in my checkings account. I had to pull out of my savings. I couldn't talk to anybody about this because nobody would understand.
They tell you're crazy.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, that you're pulling out of your 401k to get into making.
Everyone would have said I was crazy not to do that for TikTok Shop. They'd be like, "What, are you crazy?"
Yeah,
yeah, I'm a little crazy.
So now getting into it, right? Like, you invested in it. Where was kind of your head at? Where you're like, were you thinking like, what do I need to do differently? So like, what was your thought process first initially getting into it in our first kind of conversations after you said, screw it, I'm going to disregard that previous bad experience and just send it because I have nothing else?
My back was against the wall. I had to make it work. I quite literally had no choice but to make it work. I knew I wanted to quit my job in June. I had it written down. It was my New Year's goal. I said, by June, I have to figure out how to make money. And I don't care what it takes. I don't care what I have to do. Even if I spend money on this, I just want to see promise. I just need to know that I can. And the biggest thing for me was if other people can do it, why can't I do it, right? I don't need people to believe in me. I just need me to believe in me. So it was a confidence thing too for me. It was like, when things weren't working and things weren't going well, I just had to keep going.
Yeah. I will say from my perspective, when Danny first got in, it was very clear that he had the work ethic. It's all about just putting yourself in the right positions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know especially in the beginning, when we tested that first product, you're like, you were yourself doubting yourself. But I can confidently say every single week that, we talked, there was a significant amount of progress that you were putting in to actually improve on it. Like every single week, there's a stark difference. So like kind of walk through like what your days were like, because you were still in your 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. You were putting in a ton of work. Like what was that like?
I think the biggest thing for me was conserving a lot of my mental energy from the 9 to 5 job, right? I had to kind of put off a lot of the workload from my job and work on this on the side, right? So I was scripting my videos while I was at work. I was watching the course videos. I was taking notes. I have a notebook full of notes. I was treating it very seriously. This was not like a side thing. This was my thing. And so, going out on weekends, I put that aside. I cut down. I love the gym. Not saying not to go to the gym, but I cut down on my gym hours. I cut down on things I like to do to really work on this. And so I put a lot of work in, and I think that's really what made the difference. Was I was working, but I was finally working with strategy. Yeah. And I had someone to kind of finally point out what I was doing wrong and to coach me. And I told you, I was like, be honest with me, tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I can't learn unless someone tells me. And so I took his feedback, and every week I just tried to make, even if it was a 1% improvement a day, that's it. Just improve every single day, just get a little bit better.
Was that hard for you in the beginning, right? Because, when you were doing, most people do TikTok, they do random stuff. They don't know why they're doing certain things. Was that hard for you to commit to that in the beginning? Or were you like, I don't really care. I've had no success. I will follow just whatever I need to do.
It wasn't hard because I paid you for your knowledge and information. And so I'm not going to just take that and just not apply it, right? And so whatever feedback I was given, I said, I know nothing. I'm putting my ego aside. I was confident in social media because I've done social media for a while, but I just didn't know anything about this. So I said, I know nothing. Just teach me. I'm open. And so anything you told me to do, I was just like willing to do it and open to listen to the feedback and just constantly improve every single day.
And so I think it took a couple of weeks, and then when we really started to get that momentum going, like what was the first, I think it was like your first $100 a day. Walk me through that and what that was like, because I think, what was that, like week 3 or 4?
Yeah, I think it was week 4 is when I started kind of implementing some live streams. Initially, as I was trying to get the videos back up, started doing some live streams, and I remember very clearly it was a Sunday night. I had work the next day. Usually I'm depressed on Sundays, and I was just like, I'll just do a live stream tonight, like let's just try it. And then I just saw a sale go through, and I was like, oh my God. And I saw another sale go through, and I was like, oh my God. And then I finished the live stream after a couple hours, and I had made $100. And then I remember I did about a 3-mile run, and I don't really run, so that was cool. So I was so excited. I was just jumping around. I just made $100 in a day online, and then I posted a video on my page, and I said, this was in April, at the end of April. I said, if I could do $100 a day for 30 days straight, I would quit my job. And that was my sole goal for May of 2025. That was it. I said $100 a day every single day.
And so we didn't have a full month when we started working together, but that first full month you did, I think, what 1,000, something like that? I think it was like 1.1K.
The first full month, 1.2K in April.
1.2K. And then what, did things start to click for you at that point? Like where was your head at? Like, can you see it? Yeah.
Yeah, I started getting confidence. I said, I made $1,000 in a month doing this, and I hadn't made any freaking money in 3 months doing this. So now that's all I needed to know was, okay, I can do this now. And once I saw a little bit, I said, it's possible. It's freaking possible. And that's when everything's changed.
How helpful was it just having that set? Because that's a big thing that everybody hears me constantly talk about is having a process and understand why you're doing certain things. Was it starting to click and see the light and have a system behind what you're doing?
Yes, see the light, and like I said, I had my end goal was quit my job, and I just needed to make sure I had income on the side of my job first.
Yep.
And so, seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, knowing I just made money online. Like, let me actually give it full effort for a singular month, 100% maximum effort, and let's just see what I can do.
Yeah.
That's when everything changed.
So then then your videos started to pick up, right? So walk me through that kind of first like viral video. I remember, you started to get that one to take off, and that was kind of pushing you into like what, $100, $200 days, something like that?
Yeah, I remember it was one of my older videos from like a couple weeks ago, started to pick up, and it did like 100,000, then it did like 200,000, and then eventually it got up to like 1 million, then 5 million views, and I was like, what's happening right now? This is 5 million view video. I'm getting sales every day, and I'm looking at this account. I'm refreshing it at work, and I'm like, I've just made $300. It's not even noon yet. I'm looking around at my coworkers like, these guys have no idea what I'm doing over here. It's crazy, man. That was the best feeling in the world, was while I was sitting at work and I was making money on the side at my job. It just gave me like a confidence, like, hey, I don't need to be here anymore. Like that's in my head. I was like, I'm making money. So like I just had more confidence at showing up to work and just in real life, just knowing that I'm gonna be like doing this,
So now I want to go through so that 1.1K month. What month was that again?
That was April.
April. So May, right? So you had some traction going into May.
Yeah.
And maybe like $100 days, $200 days going into May, right?
Yeah. I was right at those like $100, $200 days going into May.
So I was on a call with Danny, and we were having a conversation, and I was like, I hope you see where this is going. I was like, full expectation, like if you put your foot to the gas, you can hit 10K this month. And so walk me through, I remember you're looking at me, you're like, is this guy crazy? So like what was that like when you kind of heard me say that?
This is a crazy story. So I had a whiteboard at home that I got, and I wrote at the top of the whiteboard, I said, goal for May, $3,000 to quit job. That was what I had to make on TikTok Shop. I made that number, I quit. And I texted him that. And then he goes, 3,000, that's all? And I'm like, $3,000 is a lot of money, man, outside of my job. I'm like, yeah, that's good. He's like, shoot for 10. I'm like, how the hell am I gonna do 10K? And so I remember this very clearly. It was like middle of May, like May 13th. I had really come close to this $3,000 mark. I was at like 2,700, and it was like May 12th or 13th. I was sitting at Noodles and Company. I was actually with my parents. I'll never forget this. And they're looking at me, they're like, why do you look upset? I was like, I have to make $10,000 this month. They're like, what? I was like, yeah. They're like, how much you made? I'm like 2,700. I'm like, I don't even know. They're like, don't you have like a trip at the end of this month? I'm like, yeah. I was like, I gotta figure it out. That's when the story got crazy, right? That's when I was like, screw it, let's just keep going. Next thing I know, I totaled up my numbers for the end of May, and I did $10,200 at the end of May. And that was like, I had on my whiteboard, the total next to the goal, and I was like, holy, crazy, right? So
it compounds really quickly. Like the goal, it's harder to get to 1 to 3K a month than it is to get from 3 to 10K.
Absolutely,
I firmly believe that. So now you're going into, I guess that's June now, right? After that 10K month, when did you officially like, okay, like now's the time? I hit 3x what my goal was. When did you finally like put that 2 weeks in and just kind of make that jump?
So I was on a trip. I got back in June, and I used up my PTO for my job because, like, why not, right? Got to take advantage of the PTO. They took advantage of me, and so got back from my trip, and the day after I got back, I put in my 2-week resignation, and I quit on, I believe, June 13th. And I kept my word.
Yep.
Said if I hit my goal, I'd quit my job.
And so that month you did, what was it, like 8K or 9K or something like that?
Yeah, I think I did around 8 or 9K that month as well.
So how are you feeling towards like the end of that month? Because you were doing it for a while. Now obviously you have the pressure of like quitting your job, like because you were starting to get a hang of it. Because again, it's super repeatable. It's the same thing over and over. Like how did you feel like good? Did you feel confident that okay, I can keep doing this over and over again?
I felt confident and good, but again, I don't care who you are. That jump of quitting your corporate job and that security, for the lack of a better term, right, is scary, because my whole life I've been told, go to school, get a job, make sure you pay your bills. Like that's just what society told me I had to do. So quitting my job for social media, there's a lot of uncertainty there. But I like to say this: I'd rather be uncertain about my future than certain about a future I don't want.
Quote that. That's a great quote. Quote
Yeah.
that. And so I wanted to bring this up as well. It is not all sunshine and rainbows. And I was talking to Danny about this. I said, when you quit your job, there's going to be some sort of Mike Tyson punch that comes your way. You don't know what it is. You don't know when it's going to come. You don't know how it's going to come. So I want you to walk through that.
Well, he did warn me, so I give him that. July came, was still running. I was actually expecting to do about 15K in July, 20K in July, and then one of my accounts got banned, the one that was doing me the biggest days. And that's when I was like, okay, that stings. Like $6,000 is going to be withheld from me for that month. It was my first month of self-employment, so you could imagine, like, that's a very scary feeling. Then I was like, all right, let's just keep pushing. A week later, a second account got banned, and so I was down to one. And I was hardly making anything, and that's when I backed against the wall. It's like, now I need to really test my skills and test my knowledge, and let's see what I can do. And then right back 2 weeks later, another $500 day, $600 day. And then that's when I started, the personal brand page started picking up, which was cool because I was documenting this whole journey on that page. And then I started getting UGC deals and retainer deals. And so despite all of that, in July, I still did $8,000 or $9,000, which is crazy, despite the big roadblocks,
And again, a testament to Danny, right? No matter where you're at, no matter what you're doing, like, you're gonna have a huge setback.
Yeah.
And the fact that you knew it was coming, it happens to everybody in some way, shape, or form. The Mike Tyson punch, but for you to be able to bounce back and just take that on the hip and keep going, that's what it takes. That's all it takes is being willing to take that punch and just keep going no matter what. And I also wanted to highlight, you briefly said this too, one of the things I'm always focusing on everybody is, like, it's not just the money that you're making on TikTok Shop, it's the skill behind it. So if you don't mind sharing, like, some of the things, opportunities that you've had because of the skills that you've learned from TikTok Shop.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was telling Kade today, I did $10,000 this month. I think we're filming here in August, and none of that 10,000 is even from TikTok Shop commissions, right? Because I was able to translate these skills into other areas, right? Able to translate it into more personal brand content, which translated to retainer deals and UGC content, where it's like companies reach out to me and they're like, hey, we'll pay you a certain amount to make like a certain amount of videos, and then sponsored videos where a company will say, hey, we'll pay you. I think I made $800 for a 30-second video. Like, where else can you get that ROI on time for money, right? So yeah, the skill leads to other things, but it's all up to you to take that knowledge and actually apply it, right? You can give this knowledge to 100 people, and who's the hard workers that are going to actually take that knowledge and run with it?
Correct. And so what are your goals moving forward here?
Oh man, my goals are obviously like never to go back. I never want to go backwards. My goal is what I really don't want to have happen to me is go back to a life I don't want, So my goals are really to just grow this as much as I can. And personally, my goal would be to change lives, help others change lives, like making videos like this to inspire people to take leaps. And, if you're sitting there scared to do something because you're just uncertain, like, that's okay. That's a normal feeling. You have to take risks to grow. You have to live in, being uncomfortable, or you cannot grow. You can't grow inside your comfort zone, right? And so another thing is, like, I used to watch videos like this, where people were talking about their success stories, and I'd sit there and I'd watch them and say, damn, I wish that was me.
So, right? You're not a paid actor?
I'm not a paid actor, no. Like, literally, like, go back 4 months, I'm sitting in bed before I made a single dollar, and I'm watching a video of a guy, like even in your videos, I was watching testimonials, I was like, when's it gonna be my turn? When's it gonna be my turn? It was my turn when I picked myself up and I said, I'm gonna put the work in and put the action in and take the risk to actually do this. That's when things changed for me.
So, you took the leap after being burned before. Yeah. What is, like, if you could say one thing to somebody who's on the fence just about TikTok Shop, anything, because, I mean, we're here right now because you made that decision, 4 or 5 months ago, took the leap even after being burned. I could tell you were sweating. You were sweating. This guy was nervous. So what, someone's on that call right now, they're nervous because they're like, shoot, like, I'm scared to invest. Like, what is your message to that one person having gone through that?
You have to ask yourself, are you scared to invest because you're unsure if you're going to put the work in? Are you unsure if you're going to actually do the thing that you say you're going to do and become that person? You have to ask yourself if you're ready for that. Because here's the thing, I'm living proof that the knowledge that is taught translates to money. But if you don't actually change your lifestyle and change your work ethic, right? I could have learned this stuff and not put in any work, and nothing would have happened. So you have to, if you're nervous, you have to ask yourself, am I going to put the work in? Am I going to treat this seriously? And if so, then you're the only one in your way, right?
I constantly tell people, I'll be on coaching calls with people, and they're like, oh, I'm worried about, like, that was kind of you in the beginning. You're like, oh, my videos aren't getting traction. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, things are slowly increasing.
Yeah.
And it's like, so many times people have the wrong perspective. They're like, oh, things are going badly. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you're set up to do 10, 15K this month. Like, you just don't even know it. So I can appreciate that. But is there any final message that you want to share with people? Anything that you haven't said?
You can do anything you want to in life. Like I tell everyone this, you hear mindset crap all the time, I know, but it truly is the most important thing, right? Sometimes you don't necessarily know what you want to do, you just know what you don't want to do, and that can lead you to make other decisions in your life that will really translate into a new beautiful life, right? If you really put the work in. But like, get out of your own way, and if you do that and you truly commit to a big goal, you can do anything you want. And I swear I'm living proof that I was working a 9-to-5 job. I hated my life, depressed, as maybe people watching this might be. Like, there has to be more to life. There is, but you've got to go out and get it. So that's what I'll leave you with. Like, you can do it,
One final note here, again, guys, that one decision can completely change your life. So if you do want to apply for the program, you can click the link in the description to book a call. And again, it's for people who want to take this serious. That is why Danny is sitting here right now, because he worked his freaking butt off. And every single week there was a stark difference between where he was at and where he was going, and he wanted it. That is the difference between Danny and people who are sputtering their wheels on TikTok Shop, but they're also getting the right information, because you could be the hardest working person in the world if you don't have the right information, putting yourself in the right positions. You're going to spin your wheels forever and just waste time, because we've got this TikTok Shop opportunity right in front of your faces, and there's no saying how long the gold is going to last for. So if you do want to apply that, click the link in the description. And if you want to as well, Danny just started a YouTube channel. Go subscribe to him. He's going to be talking more about his journey, so make sure to subscribe to him as well. So thank you, Danny. Thank you, Fisher Effect. And we will see everybody in the next video.